Hello, hello. This is Jim. I've been out of pocket for a week, so to speak. I've been trading, but hadn't been doing any videos because I haven't been in my office. But what I'm going to do is do the review of 622 through 626, and I was doing really just maybe one trade every morning uh, through that week, last week, and one day I did two of them, but basically I was just doing one trade a morning, and came out pretty good. But we'll start out Monday. I took this signal here around 420 and just ran it down for a few ticks. Um, if you notice, all last week as well, we played between these pivot points. Um, we'd run up and test something, and then we'd run down and test it, and then we'd work lower to the next pivot, or run back up to the pivot above it. So one thing, if you don't have weekly pivot levels on your chart, you need to get that. I'm using Thinkorswim Toss here, and you can see my levels. And as we go through the week, you're going to see how important that is to be using. So anyway, that was Monday, and I'm just going to kind of scroll through, and you can see how this we ran up through this main pivot level, but we right back down, chop around these levels, and we finished the day out just a little above that level, and then we even eat down and test this next one. Can't quite see it on that chart, but that's what's happening. Let's go into Tuesday, because I'm out of my trade times here in the afternoons. I don't do anything with it. I'm way out of that. Let's see what we got for Tuesday. There we go, Tuesday. I did take this pull back. I didn't hold this trade as long as I should have, but I got several ticks out of that. And that was the only trade I did Tuesday morning. So I had my PPO cross, and then I had my EMA cross. I had a nice pullback, and we were off to the races. So that was Tuesday. There were a couple other trades in here, but as it got close to the bond pit open, things got choppy. But you see we had another PPO. We had some choppiness here going into the bond pit open at 7:20 Central. So you'd had to have been careful there, but I could have got a good little pullback. Again, that's not in my trade time, but there was a trade there. Look how it runs right down to this pivot, touches it, takes back off. Now, this trade, again, I wasn't trading it, but he had a good signal. I could have got some ticks off of it, but again, just look how it works around this pivot, runs down almost to the tick, right back up to that pivot, touching it. It was a good PPO and a good EMA confirmation. You had a nice pullback here. If I had been trading it, I'd have probably been all over that because my EMAs were pointing up and a nice pullback, and you could have got you know, 10, 15 ticks out of that. Alright, so let's keep on going to Wednesday. Again, I want you to see, look, it's working the pivot. Looks like in the afternoon it had a pretty good move down. I don't trade that, but PPO cross, EMA, goes down, pulls right back to the average, and you get an EMA cross, and boom, what is that? That's 4907 to 4819, 20 ticks in the afternoon, but it's out of my trade times, and then it flattens out. Probably going to leak back up to this pivot since it's kind of above. It's above the middle line between these two. But let's see what it does. Let's keep on going into Wednesday now. Again, I had taken early morning trades. Here we go into Wednesday. Wednesday was a tough day. I have to go back and look at my trade log because I know I was positive on Wednesday. We had an EMA down, so I think I was trading, let's see, 4, 5, it would have been right here. I would have eked out just a few ticks here. Then we go right into the bond pit open, and we're just chopping around that pivot all morning. So that was a tough morning. I did eke out. I think I got 3 or 4 ticks that morning. That was a tough morning, chopping around that pivot. It's one thing. It's tricky trading around when it's right when you get a signal right on a pivot. I would much rather be above or below a pivot line, so I have some room. In other words, let's say this price was down here and I get an up signal so we could run up to the pivot line. I much prefer that setup than taking a signal along a pivot line. It seems to be a tougher trade, and you don't have any room, so to speak, to run to a pivot level. That's, you can see, we pretty much chopped all day until right here before lunch, and it runs up from this level to that level. That's still tough. That's a tough day, and that's out of my trade time. I think, again, I look at my trade log. I think I took this one little signal here before we had this big run up, but let's go into, that was Wednesday. Let's look at Thursday. And Wednesday was tough. We're back, so late afternoon Wednesday we run up, and then we're chopping around these pivots all afternoon into Thursday. And Thursday, the last signal we had on the EMA was down. And we have nice sloping EMAs, and I was right. I remember this. I took right in here and was hoping to get down to this pivot, but did not. And when it went against me a little bit, I got out. So I was right here. But again, here we are. This level, we touch that pivot, and we're running into. Let's see. That was the only trade I took Thursday. So we're going into the bond pit open, and we're chopping around this level. Let's see what it does here around the cash open. That's just a mess. You start getting all these EMA crosses and PPO crosses. That's a mess. But the 940, it kind of cleans up. that would just been tough. Glad I wasn't trading it. Again, I was just trading early morning signals. One thing I've noticed too, and I haven't back tested this, but I have noticed that the last week or last few days of the month, typically you get a lot of this chop. I'm going to kind of watch that. I have a running back test spreadsheet that I'll probably put up on a video one day and share that with you of ZB and ZN. Let's go on into Friday. So you had a good signal right after the cash open, and I do start looking again about 8:40, 8:45. So I'd have been looking in here for a nice signal. Been tough since you're getting so much chop, but here I had both signals in alignment. That would have been a trade. Later, this is another trade, but I'm not watching then, but that would have worked. Remember, my trade times, and this is Central, are around 3 o'clock Central to 6:30 Central, and then I pick back up about 8:30, 8:40 Central to about 10:30, and that's the only times that I'm trading. So let's look at Friday now and see what we got. See how it flattens out after lunch. Just hugs a pivot. There's no need to trade that unless you just like pain. Let's see here. We run into Friday and we start getting some activity. And let's see. I know I had a good signal Friday, but I don't remember where I took it. It wasn't this early. I just got a few ticks. Yeah, I think it was this double signal here. And just got a few ticks right down to this pivot. Again, I need to look at my trade log, but all last week I took one signal every morning. I think, yeah, and I was positive every day, so I was pretty pleased with that. But I wasn't very aggressive, and I wasn't holding stuff very long. But you had a great signal here. So you had a double signal here. You could have taken that guy about 4:20 Central. You know, if you'd have waited till it got to the average right here, 149.12. If you could have held it down here. Again, that was taking it right here at this pivot, which is tricky. But boy, that one really paid off. You would have taken just a little heat, a couple of ticks of heat. You could have gotten it from 149.12 to 148.04. So you could have got a lot of money. And then look here, it chops around and then when the cash session opens, it leaks off again. So I would have gotten out here at this pivot level. But anyway, that was a good signal on Friday, a great signal on Friday, big down day. And you know, one day a week, you typically get these huge moves. Hard for me to hold. Been hard for me to hold past this. But boy, that's over one tick of movement. One contract, that's over $1,000, or right? One contract with one full point, 31 ticks. That's $1,000. So pretty good. Anyway, that's what I had for last week, and I had a very profitable week trading light and not trying to get really aggressive. But we'll see what the last 2 days of the month bring us. We've got the 29th and 30th. Close out a good profitable month trading the 10-year and the 30-year. So that's what I had. Thanks a lot.